Let me just real quickly go over a few of the accomplishments of Gabe, and then we'll hear from Gabe. And I do want to tell you, equally important to these professional accomplishments is the personal side of Gabe, and I'm going to tell you a couple of quick stories about that. Gabe, by the way, has worked in our office over the last 20 years, many times, 4 or 5 years at a time before he would go on to do some of these other jobs. So we've really gotten to know him well and could not think more highly of an individual. So let's start with his education. UT Law School, pretty good school, right? Gabe was at the law school. He was a law review editor for one of the criminal sections of the Law Review. After graduating from the University of Texas in 1983, he became an assistant attorney general. He then became an assistant district attorney here in San Antonio. After Gabe did the magistrate work, he went on to have his own private firm as a criminal attorney and represented many individuals before the courts. He's gone on to, of course, work for the city of San Antonio as a staff attorney and also as a municipal judge. So he has just an incredibly varied experience in our court system as a public servant. And one of the most important accomplishments, which I think is the best testament to Gabe's character, is when his mom got so sick and became very incapacitated, not able to swallow or to speak, and near death, and found out that the federal government wasn't going to give her the medical care and attention she needed to live. And Gabe would not accept that consequence and knew with his legal background there had to be ways to find a solution. So independent research and making sure that he found every remedy available for his mom. He pursued it, went after the government, made them change their policies and procedures. His mom got the medical attention she needed. And she went on to live many years after that, but he did not make that just a singular personal accomplishment for his mom and his family. What he did is he shared that with anybody and everybody in the United States by going around the state, going to Washington, and making sure everybody knew that these rights were available to other parents and other older people that deserved them, were entitled to them, but didn't know they had those rights. So that, to me, is the true testament of who this man is and why, not only because of his education and public accomplishments, but why Gabe as a man has walked the walk and shown how compassionate and how hard work do pay off when you care. So it's my privilege and honor to introduce to you one of the most caring, compassionate, and hardworking lawyers and individuals, my friend Gabe Quintanilla.
Wow. I look around the room, I see the faces of some friends that I have known almost my entire life. And I see other faces of friends that I met just a few weeks ago. I want to thank Pat Maloney and his staff, Josie, Shannon, Martin, Bella. They worked so hard to put this event on. Would you please give them a round of applause? I want to thank my family, represented here by my beloved brother Victor, my sister-in-law. I call her my sister, June. Thank you so much, brother. And for a woman that I love like my mother, Joyce Doricott, God bless you, Joyce. Thank you. Joyce, Ray Beret, Anna Doricott, all these folks put this event together. And I would have to say, looking around, it looks like it's a pretty good success. On the night that Martin Luther King was murdered, Senator Robert Kennedy stood before a predominantly African American crowd in Indianapolis. The crowd did not know about King's death. At that moment in time, Robert Kennedy scrapped his prepared notes and he spoke from the heart. He looked into the crowd and he broke the tragic news of King's death. His message then, in 1968, applies with equal vigor today in this turbulent era of politics. As the people wept, he urged them to keep the peace, to care for each other. And in doing so, he said this, quote, "What we need in the United States is not division. What we need in the United States is not hatred. What we need in the United States is not violence or lawlessness, but is love and wisdom and compassion towards one another, and a feeling of justice towards those who still suffer within our country, whether they be white or whether they be black." The key elements: love, wisdom, compassion, and justice. Those four corners of his message have been instilled in me throughout my entire life. I love the law, and I love public service. My quest is not one of wealth or power. I seek to uphold the law, to be fair, honest, hardworking, and to serve my community with humility. And I pledge to you tonight, ladies and gentlemen, if you will help me achieve this particular quest, I will carry that through the courts. Wisdom. I think every judge should aspire to be wise and to serve with wisdom, to exercise discretion both wisely and within the bounds of the law. The last two components, compassion and justice, they've inspired me my entire life, instilled in me as a child, molded and shaped by my loved ones. I pledge to you today that when I take the oath of office and don a black robe, I will keep these concepts in mind as Robert Kennedy urged that night. Because as a society, we are at our best when love, wisdom, compassion, and justice are the foundation of our nation, of our government, and our courts. In fact, we are best when we treat each other in this same manner in our everyday lives. William Penn once wrote that justice is best represented as blind because she sees no reference in the parties concerned. She has but one scale and weight, for the rich and for the poor, for the great and for the small. A judge should do what is right, what is just, regardless of whether there's a camera in the courtroom or not. A judge should not exercise power as a display of self-aggrandizement. Judges are not prosecutors. They are not defense attorneys. Judges are the embodiment of all that is just, whether being merciful at times or stern at times. In the next few days, I will be filing for the 399th District Court, and I pledge to you today I will bring all of my experiences in both life and law to this journey. Throughout my entire life, I have fought against injustice, both in and out of the courtroom, on behalf of the most vulnerable in our community, including the poor, the elderly, and the handicapped. I ask for your continued support and your prayers. In summing up, I dedicate my efforts in this campaign to two giants. I stand on the shoulders of my mom and dad. In summing up, I think of them and I recall the words of Shakespeare. If they should die, make them into little stars, and they shall make the face of heaven so fine that all the world would fall in love with night and bid no worship to the garish sun. Thank you. God bless you so much. I love the fact that you're here with us. I won't let you go.